no surprises on the first 3 bans. Can expect a Nidalee in there. Shen is one that's been banned away as well in both of the 2 previous games. And that is something that Linderong was playing, so they take that off the board.
Worth noting that the Hecarim ban now becomes a respect ban towards only Lyra. They're only respecting the jungle Hecarim because Ixu was the big top lane Hecarim player for Afreeca. When we have seen Hecarim the last 2 times when Afreeca has been top lane, you have to almost always think it's going to be Ixu's pick, and they do ban away the Trundle. So now we're going to get an idea of what the extended bench looks like for Linderong with less options available. Speaking of options, at first pick, could be a return to the Rex side, but Echo getting through makes a lot of sense given how the series has gone. And what does Linderong have that can actually go competitive in lane with the Echo that's been dominating the last few series we've seen?
Not sure how that matchup goes against Shen, but he is on the board. If Linderong wants to net that one for himself, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a rough one early on. Kind of forces me to go for the Spirit Visage, for the Spectre's Cowl at least, to start things off. But they're going to keep it a little bit ambiguous. Get the Rek'Sai in for Lyra, like we saw from him in Game 1, and then the Tahm Kench will return, more than likely for Snowflower, unless Linderong's been practicing that one up. But it's going to be Gragas and Sivir coming in for Samsung.
Yeah, if it is the Shen, it's going to be obviously Echo having a massive tempo advantage and be able to push the lane, and Shen still being able to itemize into the Sunfire Cape, it's worth noting, because we're expecting AD Echo once again with the Trinity Force. So Spectre's Cowl, Sunfire, and then it will be competitive. But for the early game, it's going to be a lot of pressure, and so far the pressure has really counted for a lot in our first 2 series. Haven't seen a sign of the Songyun Kog'Maw yet in this series. We'll be locked in, though, and it's going to be the Shen. So
yep,
this comp certainly comes online with a couple of items, but will Samsung just go with what's been working? Because they can just draft Victor again if they so choose. Victor Sivir Echo is about as much line wave as you could ever ask for.
I'm sure that in the voice comms, Crown has no objections to drafting Victor. Varus is another one there for him, so could just see that picked up, as well as the Karma for Wraith on support.
And this is what the best teams have been doing against the Kog'Maw comps, has been going for poke. And while they don't have access to the Tahm Kench, Gragas can act as a disengaged champion in this, and Echo's just going to be about pressure. So the 4-1 here, putting 4 in the mid lane, Karma speed up, Sivir speed up, and the Gragas disengage. And then if Echo has the lane pressure we expect him to have on Shen, it's going to be Samsung trying to find a cleaner early game than Afreeca did with a very similar comp to what Afreeca was running in Game 2.
See if they're able to pull it off. Varus will be locked in here. So still a good amount of line wave fear and poke coming in. And Mickey, he's going to flash this Yasuo yet again.
Baby.
Haven't seen him play this since round 2 of Spring. It was a very abysmal performance. But now he's got a lot of options open to him. He flashes the Twisted Fate, something that he's very well known for. Has had some rough games on that recently, but now might just go back to this Lissandra that we saw from him in Game 1.
Flashing a couple of options.
We actually saw a Vel'Koz today.
Jensen
Cloud
went off on Vel'Koz.
TL, they got a free sample of Bodied by Jensen in that match. He absolutely crushed them with Vel'Koz.
I think the Lissandra's really good because it has the strong laning phase. It forces the cleanse out of the Varus in the mid lane. And honestly, if you hit the ultra late game with all the buffs that the Ultimate received many patches ago, you zone a lot. You provide a big zone for your Kog'Maw. So will it be able to occupy space to allow that Kog'Maw to do damage? Interesting stuff from Afreeca. They're trying to look for a bit of mid-game presence. Both teams are going to have a lot of long-range damage, mostly from the Varus on the side of Samsung and from the Kog'Maw on the side of Afreeca. I think Afreeca really need to target this Echo, hold him down, allow Shen to itemize both into the Spectre's Cowl and Sunfire, and really not lead to another situation where you see a Trinity Force at 15 minutes and just intense pressure coming in the Echo lane.
There's a lot of save potential here with the Tahm Kench and the Stand United, so potential for Afreeca Freecs to keep him very well contained with the Kog'Maw. And of course, Songyun, the one that pioneered the reintroduction of this champion back into the Metaforest with his very unique build coming out. Wits End into the Runaan's Hurricane with the Ginsu's Rage Blade. Let's see if he wants to divert from that path as we get ready to load in, or if he's going to stick to that build. I feel like it's going to be the latter.
Worth knowing this game is for playoffs for Afreeca. If they are to win, they guarantee playoffs today. If they lose, they're still odds-on favorites to make the playoffs, but they'll want to take it today. They don't want to have to look to other results. The fate is in their own hands. That's what you want No twist of fate, though, to complete the analogy, but still, really important stuff for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah. We'll see. MVP, of course, still having that chance. You never know what Rocks are going to do if they're potentially locked into first place. Could just have a laugh in the game and give potentially a win over, much like TSM did earlier today with their Teemo pick. Well, here we go. Looks like we're going to be loading in any second. And we'll be able to find out if Afreeca Freecs can confirm their playoff spot here today, or if Samsung is going to make them wait just a little bit longer. Let's go ahead. Get right into Game 3. All right, Infernal Drake will be kicking us off, our first one of the night.
82nd match of the season as we open up the last week. Could have the playoffs decided 5 match days before the end of the season when it comes to the qualifiers. Now those places can move around a bit. Samsung, KT, and SKT can all fight around. I guess SKT still have an outside chance of making first place if Rocks Tigers lose both their series this week.
Very possible. Take a look at the Keystone Masteries. Again, it's going to be pretty standard stuff coming through. Nothing shocking on either side. Fervor battle for Kog'Maw. He is going to be attacking so very quickly.
And the on-hit damage doesn't get reduced with the AD damage reduction that applies on the Biocane Barrage. So while it is a little bit risky, if you're not taking too much trade damage, you certainly put up the damage yourself as the little Void Monster.
Yep. Will be the swap coming through, initiated by Afreeca, matched by Samsung.
Afreeca really want the lane swap once again to open up the teleport
Look at
plays,
this.
but they have a lot here.
Yeah, they check with a Q. Nicely done by Wraith. Really smart. So we'll just spot them out, stay safe. That could have been really bad for Samsung. Now it's really bad for Ruler. Has to flash away the exhaust used by Snowflower. Get a good little bit of damage in onto him, but it's going to make the Sivir very susceptible to ganks for the next couple minutes. We'll see if Lyra is able to take advantage of that.
Afreeca have been one of the trickiest teams with the level 1s. We remember them as the team to camp brushes in lane, look for picks. They were very tricky there as they had all 4 members hoping and praying for a face check. So smart of Wraith to check the brush. They don't pick up the kill to really start the snowball for them, but given it's 2v2 laning, the flash being down for Rule is actually very relevant.
Yep. Oh, and look at Mickey. He's gotten chunked out really low by Crown and mid already. Still has the summoner spells, but he's chucking up on those corrupting potion charges down to the last one.
Mickey's in a really bad spot. The minion wave is actually towards the turret of Crown.
Oh, Crown pushing forward, gonna try to get the kill, gets the arrows, flashes through. One last auto attack will take it out. Lyra now coming in, looking for the flash, but Ambition is waiting in the wings, and that's just gonna be a clean first blood coming in for Samsung.
Have to assume it was minion aggro that led to the big discrepancy in the health bars to begin with. Able to teleport back to lane, but that tier is certainly going to be very, very early on the side of Crown.
And it is. Going to help him stack up really nicely. Lyra waiting to come in with the burrow. Will come over the wall. Ambition still here. Crown being taken low. Double knock-up off the burrow. That's really good turnaround here for Afreeca Freecs. Potentially Ambition going low. Can they get the kill? Not quite yet. He's getting burned low. Will be able to walk out with his life. Kuve's here, though, and he's going to be able to answer one on the Mickey. Does not have the flash available, so they're just going to trade back. And that's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Samsung.
Yeah, and a handful of health, probably single-digit health from Ambition. Very telegraphed stuff from Afreeca. They'll feel hard done by. It was always going to be an outnumbered trade. They probably thought it would be 3-for-2, but 3-for-1. That's a lot of extra gold onto the side of Samsung.
And it was looking good when Lyra got the double on Burrow, not necessarily anticipating that with Ambition waiting around the backside of the wall, but with him being able to waddle out very much with low HP, that is really going to impact Afreeca Freecs moving forward.
Now, Ambition's in the exact right spot. He knew this was coming. It was so telegraphed from the side of Afreeca. Ambition falls low, but it's so good at holding on to his flash. Mickey had to use the flash at the level 2 fight, if you remember. Kuve on the ball with the teleport as well. He already had the lane pushed in, and that's the flexibility when it's Echo versus Shen, is that you know you're not even going to lose a minion wave if you go for these teleport plays. No way for Shen to punish before Barmy's Cinder and probably Sunfire Cape are finished. So, nice early advantage for Samsung, and now Shen has to deal with a red buff in lane. That's no fun.
Yeah, that's really going to be giving him a headache.
Man.
Oh, and Mickey, the Doran's ring on the first item, not even going to be Doing enough to burn through that blue buff.
I feel when the blue buff's at 140 damage and you can't take it in one spell.
Rough stuff here. And yeah, early tier coming through from Crown. Going to start building that one up in under 5 minutes. So we can expect a very early man immune for him.
So much action. You don't expect this much action in such an important game for Afreeca. You expect him to play a bit more defensively with the big hope of guaranteeing playoffs today. He was going to get caught in parallel convergence.
Yeah, well, he's able to make it through the tunnel, so not going to get stunned up. Takes a good little bit of damage, but he's going to be fine. Still has the refillable potions for himself, so he can stick around in the jungle. Songyun taking a little bit of damage up top, so just getting on the wrong side of a trade.
Still has his biscuit, so they don't have eyes on ambition, so you can see they're a little bit worried, but Kog'Maw will be able to stay in lane.
And he's keeping the CS even for now, which is about as good as you could hope for. Once he starts getting some items coming through, it's really going to turn the lane on its head as he'll have that Bioarcane Barrage, additional range over top of Ruler, who will start losing out in these exchanges.
We should return to what happened in the early game, because once again, Samsung gets 2v2, which is what they wanted in game 1, but went horribly wrong when they made all the mistakes in the early game. But they get the 2v2, so once again, laning phase is longer. Once again, it's later in the game that Mickey can teleport behind the 2v2 and get picks as he wants to do. And it's later in the game that Songyun will be able to hit the mid lane and have both Lissandra and Shen split pushing in side lanes. So very important for Samsung to deny early turrets to go down, because when you have double teleport and a Shen, people are going to be getting picked left, right, and center. The moment that Shen and Ashe became first rotation and all the globals were big in the LCK about 3 weeks ago, average kill rates went way up because there were just more pick tools available for both teams.
Yeah.
So important that Samsung got those lanes. They also ended up with the Echo versus Shen matchup that gave the flexibility of Echo being able to teleport into mid lane. So the early game has been won by Samsung 2 games in a row.
Yep. As Monty was saying just the other day, wants more globals in the game. Makes it more bloodthirsty.
Wow. Can I give you a rise?
You can. You can give him a little bit more range on it.
I mean, level 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. We just need to see really where Rise is going to be fitting into the meta. Mickey's going to go forward, locks us down, Crown with that Frozen Tomb. Nice flash taunt there from Linderong, and that will be the Varus falling. Cleansed off the root from the W, and was not able to make it out of the ultimate. That's just going to be a nice kill here for Afreeca Freecs. They put the second one on the board.
Yeah, elegant stuff. You know, normally you don't talk about mechanics with Lissandra, but exactly timed. Didn't stack any CC. Shen, very nice taunt flash coming through from Linderong, who we have to mention is in the lineup today. Spectre's Cowl finished. Gonna need time to get the Barmy's Cinder, so certainly not in a great spot against what will be, once again, an AD Echo. But nice stuff from Afreeca. Will it be enough to stop them giving up an Infernal Drake, though?
Doesn't look like it. They don't really have any idea that this is happening. Lyra is hovering around taking the red buff at the moment, so this will be a free Infernal Drake going over to Samsung, which does inch them back into a bit of a lead. It's just 500 gold at the moment that they have over top of Afreeca, but now with that 8% coming through, it's going to be stacking up nicely as we get closer to that mid-game point.
Ocean will be the next one. Big pickup for both. You'd love it if you're Afreeca, just because you're expecting a lot of harass to be coming through, so if one member can back away, pick up a bit of health, and then return for wave clear, that will be big for them. Worth noting that when they faced the Juggermaw, they ran a pretty similar comp here. Actually, sorry, when they ran the Kog'Maw in their last series against Longzhu. Might have to hold on to that thought, though.
Yeah, it's going to be Kube getting jumped on. The Tongue Lash comes through to slow him up. Teleport going to be burned out here as well. They really want to confirm this Devour, locking him up outside the parallel convergence. Still use the ultimate, but there's nowhere to snap back to. And with an Exhaust infested, that will be another kill coming up for Afreeca Freecs. Mickey gets a killing blow. Yeah,
all the kills onto Mickey as the flexibility of, once again, going the intriguing Abyssal Scepter Rod of Ages build, but it looks like the Abyssal Scepter will have to be second because he already has the blasting one, so it might be a much earlier Rod of Ages in Game 2.
Which would be good. Getting the Rod of Ages at level 19 in Game 1 was a little bit questionable. Did work out for them in the end, but certainly not exactly when you want that item to come through.
So you might ask, why am I talking about an Abyssal Scepter when he's laning against Varus, but consider that between the Wit's End that's going to come in from the Kog'Maw and more flat magic penetration coming through from the Abyssal Scepter, we're talking about true damage to members that have a pretty decent amount of magic resist. So if you can fit in an Abyssal Scepter somewhere for Mickey, it actually will give a lot of power in the mid-game team.
Yeah, very true. Point now. Samsung pushing up with 4 members in the mid. That's going to be standing
Go time!
Nice knock up there by Lyra. They pile onto him, but they're not able to pop before the Shen can arrive. He does fall in the end, and now Snowflower knocked in. He'll be taking a bit of damage. Hasn't popped the shield yet, and Ruler might go down. No, Mickey unable to confirm the kill before he goes out with the Glacial Path. Now he's in a rough spot. The flash forward from ground with a piercing arrow will take him out. A 2-for-0 pickup for Samsung, and they might be able to stick around long enough to get the tower.
Thought it would be go time for Afreeca, but because the teleport was so deep from Mickey, Lyra just took too much focus fire damage. Only has a Tiamat and a Ruby Crystal, so no real tankiness on that Rek'Sai. Level 1 channel doesn't shield that much, and good focus fire from Samsung, understanding their limits, punishes Afreeca trying to make another aggressive move.
Yeah, nicely done. So 5 kills on the board for them, still only 1,500. It's at 11 minutes, so it's a decent little bit of a lead for Samsung, but it's not going to be insurmountable from the side of Afreeca. But they definitely need to tighten up, because plays like this are certainly costing them.
I mean, Tiamat Rek'Sai with Shannon on top of him had about 1,000 health, and that's just not enough at this early stage of the game. Mickey still has not been involved in this fight. Comes in, uses a rotation onto a Ruler, almost kills him, but doesn't actually have the mana to hit another Q as he went through on the Glacial Path, so doesn't even get an answering kill. So 2 quick kills over to Samsung. A lot of action so far this game, but so far it shakes out pretty damn good for the blue team.
Yeah, it's going really well for them. Songyun has completed the Wit's End, so going to be helping him out a good little bit. Rod of Age is still getting ready to come through from Mickey, but at 11 minutes, having both of the components, he's in a pretty decent spot as long as he can have that fully built up soon. Crown, in the meantime, looks like he's opting in for the Youmuu's Ghostblade first. Not going for the Hex Drinker like we saw as his first completed item in Game 2. But the tier will be nicely stacked for him within the next 10 minutes or so, you have to think.
Hurricane, very important for Songyun, whether they're going to park him in the mid lane to wave clear, or whether they're going to want him to spread that Wit's End debuff so that Lissandra can start putting out surprising mid-game damage. That item's still a long way away for the Kog'Maw. So no first item cleared by Ruler, but as Sivir, you just have that flexibility to stack AD in the early game and push up waves.
Yeah, just going to be looking for the Essence Reaver. Caulfield's hasn't come through from him. He's fallen a little bit behind Songyun, but the double kill participation for him is really helping keep the gold nice and tight knit between the AD carries. So should be seeing Essence Reaver fairly soon, we could guess. Might even have enough for it on the back. I'm not sure when the last time he recalled was.
Just after the kills, because he was very low health,
true,
as you saw on the replay.
Mid-play. So maybe he's a little bit further out, but should be able to get the Caulfields and maybe the Cloak of Agility at least.
Rite of Age is completed 12 minutes for Mickey, so we'll pay off completely around the 22-minute mark. Was Abyssal Scepter and Rite of Age is completed at 19 minutes in Game 1 when he played the Lissandra, so definitely a much earlier payoff this time around.
Will he get the Abyssal Scepter? That's a big question. I mean, you brought up a good point as to how much AP damage you would be doing. Pretty much 2 damage.
This will be lovely, but maybe it has to be a third item after a Zonius.
Yeah, go for a Zonius as a second. Yeah, would make sense with how aggressive Samsung's been able to be, turning around the Afreeca Freecs' own engagements.
Samsung taking out a turret in the top side, so they have all 3 down because they got the mid lane turret after those last few picks. Aggressive moves from Afreeca, losing the mid lane turret. They're trying to answer with a bot lane turret though.
Well, Ruler and Wraith throwing their way over, so they're not going to get too much damage, and they will be able to catch this wave in the end. They'll lose the Krugs, so it's a little bit of a pickup. And now Lyra and Mickey roaming down. They might be looking for a dive play.
Not spotted by a ward.
Ambition is waiting in the wings. Looks like they're just going to take away this red buff. They can do so safely, and then we'll be able to exit. Dragon getting ready to spawn in 8 seconds. Not sure if they can stick around long enough to try to contest that, or if Samsung will be able to just move in.
Trinity Force completed for the Echo, but no tank items. Means that the burst is there, but team fighting not trivial. Need to be very careful with his positioning.
And they're going to start this one up. See if they're able to find it. It's down below half HP. Ambition waiting over the wings, going to try to body slam through. Piercing arrow comes out and will be confirmed by Lyra as he gets popped away. A lot of damage coming through. Kube has the snapback already, but goes immediately into the taunt from Linderong. They lock him down to the Frozen Tomb. He should be falling, but no, he's able to phase dive out. And meanwhile, Mickey goes down. Ambition does fall, so it's a 1-for-1 plus the Ocean Drake over to the side of Afreeca Freecs. So going even and getting an objective, going to be a nice pickup for them.
Yeah, there's no way to get in on Songyun, so free hitting onto Ambition. He goes down. Ends up being that 1-for-1 trade, but with the Drake, and given they were behind, Afreeca will certainly take it. We're going to see the replay, and Mickey was way off screen, so Lyra once again almost gets burst down, has to stick around just to allow Shen to get into the fight. We're watching Mickey this time. Yeah, he was on the top side of the fight, trying to occupy space. Gets popped. Don't even think he completed the channel on his ultimate. Well, certainly wasn't a self-ult in that case.
No, he used it on Kuve.
Ah, right.
And then Kuve was able to jump out with the E. So couldn't confirm the kill.
That was definitely just emergency target selection because an Echo is almost certainly not going to get burst down with ultimate available.
Yeah, even without having any MR built, he's still going to be in a decent spot. Has that little bit of HP coming through from the Trinity Force and the double Dorans, so it's got some resistances.
One thing that teams are starting to learn is the one-item power spike of Wit's End on the Kog'Maw is much bigger than you initially think, because it's a nice amount of on-hit magic damage. That part is great, but the magic damage shred for teammates we've already covered, great for someone like Lissandra. But just think about Kog'Maw. He has that percentage maximum health damage on his W, and kind of trivial when you have no magic penetration, but when you have such fast attack speed and soon spreading it to multiple members, you really do start putting out relevant damage with just one item, and then the second allows you to spread it to everyone.
Yeah, well, he's going to be looking for that soon as Brunette's Hurricane's getting ready to come through. Spied away by Lyra will keep the blue buff out of the hands of Ambition. Still not necessarily where you want that to go, but meanwhile Samsung posturing up in mid, getting a lot of damage in. I don't think they'll be able to take this. They'll work it pretty low. Just going to keep things tight. They'll stick around for a little while as Kuve does have the split push going on against Linderong up top. And United, I think it's about to come off cooldown for him. Hard to see. But teleport is available, so he can answer if a fight does break out in that mid side. But looks like everybody, instead of Afreeca, going to back off and just let this turn go over.
Look at that first item is Linderong. Doesn't have level 2 ult either.
Trying to defend it now. Explosive cast comes through from Ambition. Tries to get Songyun. Would have killed him, but the Devour nice in time there by Snowflower will keep him up. But the wave clear from Samsung is proving to be quite a bit. They should be able to just wait out Afreeca Freecs and take out this tower.
One thing I wanted to talk about earlier was the Twisted Fate has been replaced by Lissandra in this Kog'Maw comp from Afreeca that they ran against Longzhu. Has strong wave clear, but it's short range to Kilios, so you can see all the poke that these champions are eating.
Songyun comes back in with the Abyssal Voyage from Snowflower. Didn't even heal all the way to full and is now chunked out as he gets hit by that piercing arrow immediately. So, with very limited lifesteal coming through on just the Doran's blade, it's going to be a little bit rough for him. Chuck up on a potion, get healed up as much as he possibly can, but that will end the siege from Samsung. So not able to net that tier 2 quite yet.
Comps are so intriguing from Afreeca. They really run the Kog'Maw in different scenarios than you'd expect. Everyone expects the mass shielding, the Karma mid lane, but first Twisted Fate, now Lissandra. Both of them short range, wave clear champions that can definitely get bullied out. And you look at the enemy side against a siege duo like Varus and Sivir, you usually need something that can provide strong engage or something that has strong wave clear. And you might think on a simple level, well, Lissandra can do both those things, but not safe enough in terms of range with the wave clear. And then if you're diving as Lissandra, where is Kog'Maw in this story to be able to do damage? Because Kog'Maw does a lot of damage when the enemy's coming to him, but struggles to do damage if the enemy team is kiting backwards, which is exactly what this Samsung comp wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that that exact scenario happen in the fight around Dragon, where Mickey was so far forward, tries to lock down multiple members, but the Kog'Maw is just so far back that he can't actually take advantage of the CC coming through. So it's created some struggles for Afreeca, but they've been holding on decently well. Still going to be down by 4.2 thousand, or 3.2 thousand at this point. So a bit of a discrepancy. A good chunk of that coming from the tower that they are lacking. But this 8% increase AD AP from Samsung has got to be a bit of a concern.
Looks like Lissandra cancels her back. She's going to continue her split push. For some reason, we're full zoom on the jungler.
Just got to get a good look at Ambition. I'm trying to see if it was possible if you zoom in on Gragas, you can fill the whole screen. You get pretty close.
Yeah, we're on our other monitor, we see Gragas.
You get pretty damn close to him covering that. He easily covers like maybe a fifth of the screen.
Good old Gragas.
Such a bad Santa, Gragas.
Doesn't look like he's an aggressively bad Santa, but...
I mean, he's a very drunken Santa.
That's true. Realistic, actually.
It's kind of like drunk on milk.
Sure, that's what Riot Games wants you to think.
I mean, he's got like... I'll have to hold that thought. Mickey coming on the pitch on the backside, locks down ground, but a really nice cleanse off. Mickey might get popped. The Devour comes through from Snowflower to keep him alive. Ambition up the front line, has to flash out to keep himself alive. Cubing going forward, has a railroad convergence. They lock down Linderong. Isn't enough to finish off the Shen, though. Still very tanky, but the poke coming through from Samsung might be enough to shove Afreeca back into the base where they can get this turret.
It's just such a confused team fight phase for Afreeca. Another fight where Mickey comes in on the backside. Devour has to be used on Mickey, so it's not there for the Kog'Maw. It's really strange to see, and they haven't got the items either to really win the team fights outright if people try to get in on Sungyun. So even though Sungyun's almost full health, fights just aren't occurring like Afreeca drafted for us. Crown may be caught.
Oh yeah, he's really far forward. Parallel convergence comes out from Cube, but he can't get in there to confirm the stun. Meanwhile, Linderong teleporting in. The Dragon going low. Ambition's really low as well. We'll be able to body slam out the backside of the pit, and it looks like Samsung should be able to disengage successfully.
Teleport invested for no gain unless they can actually take out this outer mid lane turret.
It doesn't look like anybody from Samsung is in position to rotate up there to defend it, so they should be able to net this.
Will take a while. They only have a couple of minions.
Oh, well now here comes Crown. So Wave Clear has arrived, and Afreeca will back off. They get a good amount of damage in though. But that's the one drawback from this Kog'Maw. Shoots really fast, but he doesn't do much AD damage.
And it's 60% damage in that form, so the on-hits don't really do much to turrets. They don't affect the turrets in that way, so...
If only he had a Mountain Drake.
That'd be helpful.
But not going to be in this game, because we've just got nothing but clouds, infernals, and oceans.
Oh, the Cloud Drake's awesome, though, Achilles, so...
It is. Double Cloud Drake, potentially, for Samsung. That's going to be pretty scary.
It's the extra move speed to get on top of that Kog'Maw.
I mean, that and then Ruler with On the Hunt to really open up the fight.
I mean, consider this fight. Lyra is going in aggressively. Of course, Mickey's going in, but watch Sungyun. Like, he needs to acquire targets. He just gets explosive cast away. Nice job by Ambition. And okay, he starts to hit onto Ambition, but the next target's not there. And consider what was happening in that fight. He was only hitting Ambition. He has Hurricane. Those bolts weren't actually spreading to anyone else. He wasn't spreading the Wit's End magic resist debuff, so they're not getting value out of the on-hit Kog'Maw if he's only hitting one target. And that's why I say that this draft, like the Twisted Fate draft before, is a bit confused from the side of Afreeca. It does many things, but it doesn't do the one thing well, which is exactly what Kog'Maw is looking to do.
Yeah. Well, so far, they're really struggling. And that second Dragon coming through for Samsung is going to be pretty nice. Zipping around the map. It's going to be Lyra getting engaged on, goes into the tunnel, now locked down with the exhaust. The tether as well there, and he's just going to fall. So, yet again, a member of Afreeca Freecs just getting caught out. Now postured forward and bottom, QV. He's going to go back, has the ultimate, so he can snap back into this lane, should he want to. Doesn't look like Samsung will need the help, though, because this tier 2 is just going to fall. And they're just going to keep stretching this lead now 5-2 in towers.
Samsung are playing exactly how we wanted Afreeca to play in Game 2 with a much similar comp. Just no mistakes from Cuvée, as Ixu was making in Game 2. Linderong's been fine, but Shen is not going to apply pressure in a laning phase against the Echo. And while Mickey's trying to create pressure himself, another thing that Lissandra provides is that ability to take the teleport and pressure other lanes. When he comes into the fights, they just really struggled to get the most out of the Kog'Maw and Lissandra duo.
Now Baron up. Been 3.5 minutes as we're just only 23 minutes into this game. It feels like it's been so much longer given how many fights we've had. The Baron very likely could become a point of contention. Oh, Ruler in a bad spot, flashes away, but still gets caught by that Frozen Tomb. He should go down in this one unless breaking his shield's not going to happen. Lyra will find the killing blow. Mickey goes low. Here comes Linderong off the TP from Stand United. Vision going to try to turn things back around. Hits him with the Drunken Rage and the body slam. A lot of damage coming through.
Whoa.
Finishes off Mickey in the back line with the explosive cast. Nicely done by Ambition. And that's going to be the 1-for-1 coming through. Looking for more. Snowflower's low. Ambition on the chase, but he's low on mana. Don't think he's going to be able to finish this one off. Now Cube zipping his way through. Trying to get onto Lyra. Does close the distance with a phase dive. Lyra unburrows. No convergence is there. Ambition goes in deep, but the Devour comes through from Snowflower. Will keep him alive for the time being. Looks like that might just be the disengage. Ruler is getting ready to respawn, as is Mickey.
And the game of inches after those first 2 kills was crazy. So many members just saved. Tom Kench doing a lot of work on the side of Afreeca, and then good trade tanking from Cuvée and Ambition. They don't quite get the kill on Lero, which would have got the smite down. Yeah, Ruler realizes that with all the different CC options, he had to flash first, couldn't rely on the spell shield, goes down. Remember, if you watch Cogmore, he's so zoned because he can't cut in aggressively when Samsung have the numbers advantage on the bot side, so he's kind of just meandering. It's a nice explosive cast from Ambition, actually killing someone with it.
Yeah, maybe not the intended use of the explosive cask, but certainly going to be happy with that result in the end anyway.
One day we'll find a fight where Cogmore can just free hit, or maybe we won't. I mean, the comp already doesn't help it, and then fighting in terrain like that, there was just nowhere for Songyun to fight.
Mission moving forward, throws out the explosive cask, Drunken Rage, take off a chunk of Mickey. He uses the Frozen Tomb down, or the W rather, to try to lock him in. But a nice devour coming through from Soulflower might keep him alive. Spits him back into the face of Ambition so he can get the Frozen Tomb. He's able to get out of there in time. So he will still be alive. Mickey holding on by a thread. Cuvée pitches it from the side. Parallel Convergence isn't going to find anybody, and that should be the disengage. So Samsung not afraid to hit the go button, but unfortunately they don't come up with the kill.
Looking for aggressive picks themselves, Afreeca, but difficult to do that when Ambition has the Spirit Visage and the Locket. Very, very immune to magic damage. Samsung not making the same mistake SKT did in getting that with the Locket as soon as possible. Does so much work. Magic resist stacking is required. Double Locket on the side of Samsung. This is a turret trade you don't necessarily want to make, Afreeca.
Yeah, tier 2 for the tier 1 mid. Definitely not going to be the best of things. And Samsung, they're looking for more. They're moving on to this inhibitor tower in the top lane. They will be able to finish this off. The inhibitor, maybe not so much. But Mickey now getting jumped on, has to do some his parallel convergence is there, but so is Snowflower with a devour. Stand United coming through onto the top end. She's not going to be in a very advantageous position to get a taunt. Snapback gets used by Cuvée, and they're actually going to be able to push in and take the inhib off the backside of that.
And not great communication from Linderung. Ulting onto the Tahm Kench. Wasn't in a spot to get him back into the fight, and they didn't have that Stand United available for Songyun. Snowflower just going to walk up, but trying to trade an outer mid lane turret for an inner turret against this siege comp from Samsung was always going to lead to a bad trade, and 2 turrets for 1 and the inhibitor for Samsung.
What is it? I don't understand what this Santa Gragas is drinking. Because he's got like a bag full of toys, but he's still drinking from it. So maybe he just like hides bottles of like whiskey. And
let's just say there's eggnog in there.
That's a good point, actually. It's probably some really strong eggnog.
Exactly. The Drunken Rage means it's, you know, it's eggnog with a bit of something extra.
He's just keeping the cartons of eggnog hidden amongst the toys that he's supposed to distribute to the children.
Don't you do that when you're a mole Santa, Achilles?
Yeah. I can't say I've ever been a mall Santa.
There's time.
God forbid if my casting career leads me into mall Santas.
Seems like a natural segue to me, I don't know.
Talking about video games, you can talk about video games to little kids who want them for Christmas.
Enjoy some of your very powerful eggnog.
Makes sense. Oh dear. Well, Afreeca, are they going to try to sneak this? I mean, they spit Songyun over the wall, but they're not.
They're going to like lose a couple of inhibitors if they try to spend time around Baron.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing. They're just going to go ahead and recall. They had the in for it, but didn't opt to commit.
They don't have the time. Samsung just pushes down mid. Afreeca have to react.
Now Songyun gonna try to defend this. Trying to walk up and get the clear in on the wave. Meanwhile, Lyra coming around the side. Ambition finds him, chunks him out a little bit. Stand United going to be used. Mickey pitching in from the backside. Goes in for the glacial path. Actually doesn't follow through. Ruler firing off, trying to get those auto attacks in, but Linderung is still pretty tanky. Mickey still holding onto the Frozen Tomb, trying to follow through. Looks like he will make it out with the E. Cuvée gets knobbed up. The shield comes through from Wraith. Linderung flashes forward. He'll be able to confirm that and take him out. Wraith is going to go in really aggressively, gets the tether into the boomerang, and Ruler comes up with the damage, takes him out. Meanwhile, Ambition is just zoning Mickey out. Still has that Frozen Tomb, still trying to get away, but Samsung, they're just going to end the game.
Yeah, on the top side of the screen, exhaust onto Cuvée wasn't enough. Killed off the Cogmore to start the fight. First one to die. Zoning away the Lissandra, zoning away the Wave Gun. I think Samsung are going to take it.
Yeah, they are. Ambition now just duking it out with Mickey. He's trying to run around as best as he can, but it doesn't matter because Samsung, they're knocking down the Nexus sub 30 minutes, 11-6. One hell of a brawlish game, but they'll end with over an 11,000 gold lead, and that'll mean that Afreeca Freecs are still not confirmed for playoffs.
Really scattered team identity. The Cogmore's not enough for Kilios. They needed something with the last bit. They tried the Twisted Fate last time. It didn't work, and the Lissandra was unfortunately more of the same. And now Samsung, 1 game behind KT Rolster. So they will actually probably play off on Saturday for who makes it to 3rd, which is so consequential because you skip out on that wildcard match. Avaris was in the game, so predictably did a lot of damage, but Afreeca, once again, I think this time it was the drafting phase. Game 2, it was all about the sloppy play by Ixu in particular in the start of the game. Game 3, plugging a Cogmore into a normal comp doesn't work. That's what we learned. They managed to do it to some degree against SK Telecom, but it just didn't work here. The Lissandra and the Cogmore were never combining for damage in the fights. It always looked a bit scattered. And basically Samsung did to Afreeca what Afreeca drafted to do against Samsung in Game 2.
Yeah.
Went for a poke comp against the Cogmore. And you can see why people are doing it, because every time the Cogmore walked up, one Varus Q, he's at half health, and they can't really fight after that happens.
Yeah, I mean, that was just much more cohesive in Games 2 and 3 from Samsung. Looked really scattered and all over the place. Weren't playing together. It seemed like there were a lot of communication issues, but coming back into Game 2 looked a little bit better, and then Game 3 was just pretty clean cut from them from the get-go.
It needed to be, and now excitement looks to Saturday, because Samsung versus KT decides 3rd spot, assuming that KT go on to win their next series. Because basically the way it works is that now they are, I believe, equal game score with KT, but if KT win, then they're going to clearly be at least +1 or +2 game score. So the game score race for Samsung versus KT is going to be so big. The match score is likely to be identical until that final match where KT and Samsung basically play for 3rd.
Yeah, right now they're both at a +10.
Okay.
So we'll be pretty tight-knit on them. And then the next match that we do have from KT is going to be against CJ Entus. So we can kind of take a guess as to how that one's going to happen. And then their last game, of course, will be against Samsung. So Samsung do get a nice little break as they don't have to play any more games until Saturday, so they can really start preparing for KT Rolster. KT, though, I'm not sure how much they're going to prepare for CJ. They could probably just look forward to Samsung and really start prepping for that.
Look, I want to say you're wrong, especially that CJ's been a bit better recently, but realistically, I think you're right. The bigger priorities are there for the Saturday game against Samsung and for playoffs that KT are already guaranteed to be in.
Yeah, well, Crown is going to net himself another MVP win here. 5-2-6, 92% kill contribution on the Varus. And it's not really a surprise. This is how he leapt to the top of DPM for a while, was through the picks like the Varus and the Victor, both of which we got to see tonight. And he had just some really nice plays. Good first blood coming through from them right there.
And mathematically still in with a chance of making it to equal first in the MVP standings. Could get 2 MVPs against KT Rolster.
Very true.
And equal up Smeb, who's been stranded on 900 MVP points for a long time. But, you know, we've seen so much Cogmore that people had to return to, okay, what works against Cogmore? We've seen the Leonas tried. That didn't really work.
Saw the Sejuani.
That didn't really work. But in this series, we see once again that a well-executed poke comp Cogmore offers no tools against. And then drafting the Lissandra to answer the poke comp means that the Cogmore kind of doesn't do much. So at the end of the day, nice draft from Samsung. Much cleaner play from them on the poke comp in Game 3 than Afreeca could muster in Game 2. And good series for Samsung overall. Still some question marks, but Cuvée back in the lineup looking good. And now, who's to say who will be the top laner come playoffs?
I mean, I think Cuvée with his performance is good, but it does give a little bit of flexibility. You know, if it comes to an opportunity where they think, you know what, okay, I think we might need a Rumble player for this matchup, so they could always.
And if they need a Maokai player,
then
they might have bigger problems.
Yeah, then they might be screwed. So who knows what happens in that circumstance? But no, I think that they could have a little bit of flexibility. But Cuvée having a much better performance here than he did in their series just last week. So. We'll see if he can keep that consistent, see if he'll maintain his spot, or if Helper will just kind of bounce in and out of that roster, as we've seen from a couple other teams. But should be keeping things pretty tight-knit as much as possible, because they just have one more game. So you don't want to go into that question like, okay, who's going to play? You want to have a concise plan and say, you know what, it's going to be this squad, this is how we're going to prep, this is how we're going to play it, and then try to execute on it.
And if we do see the same match in a week's time, I mean, we saw 3 games. This could easily go to 5 at Kilios.
It very well could. Afreeca.
It is a best of 3, though, for the wild card.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
So not necessarily as relevant a point.
I mean,
My
it could go to 5 games, but it won't because that's mathematically not possible for that series. But okay, guys, that's going to close it out from us here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with ESC versus CJ. It's going to be a battle of the relegation teams, potentially. ESC need to pick up a win there if they want to inch back ahead of Longzhu and even Jin Air, who's getting ready to bottom out and make it into that relegation spot. So we'll see what happens there. Big implications as we get ready for the promotion tournament later on in the month. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more LCK.